All right, I had to pop on here because I wanted to talk to you all about this hot mic moment. I've shared it on social media, but I thought I would share it here in this video because it kind of blows my mind. Okay, so have you seen the video, the hot mic moment of the governor candidate from California, Katie Porter, speaking to a reporter in an interview? It's interesting. So in this set of interviews, this reporter from the CBS station in Sacramento, Julie, she's talking to a number of candidates running for office. And typically when you interview candidates for any office, you want to aim for having the same set of questions to be fair for those people, giving them roughly the same amount of time. So then the viewers can see that balance from you as a journalist and, they get a good capture of the candidate with those series of questions. It's just a thing. I actually, here at 12 News this past year in my behind the scenes role at the station, I helped coordinate interviews with candidates running for different offices. And we, as a team, thought of specific questions that we wanted to ask them. All the same questions, even for the most part, the same people, at least for the same candidates running for office. So then we were just maintaining that balance, that everything to make sure that we were doing things properly as a team. But in the set of interviews for the candidates from California, I'll ask the same questions by the same reporter. There's this conversation nationwide about redistricting. And the candidate at one point, I think she just maybe becomes, at least in my view, maybe a little flustered because maybe she wasn't quite sure of where the question was going or whatever was happening there. But there's a moment where she says, okay, I don't want to do this interview anymore. And she becomes a little hostile in my view, just the tone. But certainly I think she's just flustered. The reporter trying to navigate everything, trying to be calm and collected. I think she did a wonderful job with handling Ms. Porter in the best situation possible. Because, you don't want anybody walking away from an interview. You want to keep that interview going and asking those questions. And you don't want someone to have negative press as a journalist being like, oh, that reporter was so X, Y, and Z. But you see that clip online and they put up the full clip so people could understand the context of things, which I think is important. The reporter said, the candidate says something like, I don't want a negative experience with this. The reporter says the same back saying, I don't want you to have a negative experience with this, but we want to ask you these questions because we're asking the same questions and we are asking follow-ups. The candidate did address her concern with that. She's like, well, you're peppering me with all these follow-up questions and stuff. And it's pretty natural as a journalist, an investigative journalist, to offer those follow-ups because you have to have more than just, sometimes you want to know more, like, oh, expand on that answer. I don't quite understand. Or can you elaborate a little bit more? Because I bet people want to know more. And that's our service as journalists, to keep people informed, especially if you're voting for people who are going to represent you at the governor's level in California. A big job. So I just thought it was so interesting to see that pop up. That candidate also, there was a new video that had just resurfaced. So it's not new. It didn't just happen. It was something that happened years ago. And it was an interview where, again, kind of that hot mic moment, but it wasn't a hot mic. They were in an interview and she scolded, I believe, a staff member in that moment. She said some pretty, big words, adult words there for sure. But I thought it was fascinating. I don't know if you guys like that kind of thing or seeing it, but I'm drawn into it. I was a political science major in college, so politics is definitely like my repertoire. I really appreciate it. I am fascinated by government, and I just thought that was just such an interesting moment that unveiled itself online.